The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCMedia News, the recent cold stretch puts those without a home in Fall River in jeopardy. As President Trump assumes office, state Democrats seek input on ways to better serve residents. And a local arts advocate is now a member of the Mass Cultural Council. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. This is FRCMedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. Since Sunday, Fall River has been in the throes of a cold snap with those on the street seeking warmth. Mayor Paul Coogan says along with shelter beds at Stepping Stone's First Step Inn on Pine Street and the Tomato Center on Bay Street, the First Baptist Church will open its doors one last time tonight, Thursday night, for those looking to get out of the elements. It's all part of the city's continuing efforts to combat homelessness across Fall River.
We want people to come in, stay warm. I'm hearing there's still people that want to live out there. They have been offered numerous times to come to shelter. The public gets mad and said, why are they out there? But at the same time, you can't go over there and handcuff people and bring them in. People have to want to come for help. People that want help will get help, but at the same time, it's their individual choice, and we're doing everything we can to get them in, but at the same time, it's a battle.
Anyone in need of assistance is urged to call the 24-hour homeless hotline number for shelter needs at 508-676-3528. Identifying the needs of those homeless this winter, a group of community volunteers have, for the third week, provided food and supplies for those at homeless encampments near the Quikasham River Rail Trail, and they plan to return every Wednesday afternoon through the end of winter.
And every time we ask, the community just comes out. Business leaders, we have Fatima Benson from Alexandria's here. Mr. Chen's here. Never a shortage of people who want to help. In doing this, we've developed somewhat of a network, and we just contact, whoever's talking about it, the more people that are talking about it, the more help we can get as far as like housing and things like that. So there's resources. Ideally, we'd like them to come here and get hot food and things like that, but I understand if they don't want to leave their tents in this kind of weather, so we go to them.
I got 2 huge hugs already today from folks that we're just providing for their basic human needs. Some food, clothing, trying to keep them warm in this bitter cold. There is a Amazon page or an Amazon link where items will be updated that we need to provide for others. So it's on Christopher's Facebook page, it's on Blessed Trinity's Facebook page. Kathy set that up, and as we need more items, we'll update it, and people can check in there if they want to donate.
Teachers represented by the Fall River Educators Association have approved a new contract with the city following a year-long set of negotiations which resulted in a tentative agreement set just before Christmas. Teachers sought what they called a correction in salary to put them on par with communities within the region and other similar-sized gateway cities. In the end, the teachers received a wage increase based on seniority, with a total increase of between 18% and 21% over the life of the 3-year deal. The union also received concessions on parental leave, with 4 weeks paid for by the district. Mayor Paul Coogan says the new deal is a fair one and should improve recruitment and retention of city teachers.
Fall River was always the bottom rung on the ladder as far as pay and benefits for our teachers. I was there a long time. I was on the other side of the coin when I was in the union, and I wanted just us to be equal or close to the surrounding communities when I was there, and that's why I think, at the end, myself and the vice chairman Mimi Larrabee got involved and went to the negotiations and helped work through the final last few parts of the contract. I think our teachers deserve it. I think that job is extremely, extremely challenging, and I'm glad we got it done.
The school committee will likely vote on the teacher's contract at its meeting on February 10th. Two other units within the FREA, representing licensed practical nurses or LPNs, therapy assistants, and school administrative managers, are still negotiating with the school committee. Since Donald Trump was elected president in November, Democrats have begun analyzing what went wrong and what they need to do to reclaim the White House in 2028. Even though Vice President Kamala Harris won Massachusetts, President Trump made gains to close the margin of victory. In Fall River, once a Democratic stronghold, the Republican candidate came out on top for the first time in 100 years. Even though Democrats still own large majorities in the state legislature, all seats in Congress, and within the state's executive branch, party leaders here are looking at how they can better connect with voters. Fall River resident and local state Democratic committeeman Kevin Costa says Fall River residents voted for Trump in part over the economy caused by a disparity of wealth across the United States.
There's a plutocracy in the world. And wealth's concentrated on the top. The three richest people in this country have as much wealth as the bottom half. Many of the bottom half is in negative wealth. And so how do you sustain, once they started, the median wage in this country is the same it's been decades in real terms, even though the economy's 3 times bigger. It's all going to the top. The Republicans have had repeated tax cuts in the top, but that's Trump's greatest success last time around, and it's going to be one of his priorities now, if not the priority. They put people with credit card debt, student debt, healthcare debt, mortgage debt, and what we've had is a very fragile economic system with booms and busts and asset bubbles that burst.
Mr. Costa believes President Trump and Republicans use performative tactics and misinformation to cast doubt in voters' minds on the Democratic platform. He says Democrats were unsuccessful in matching the Republican rhetoric.
Democrats, to a large extent, have been disconnected. You know, they talk policy, and people go glossy-eyed, right? I'm guilty of that, right? And so, you know, and we need accomplished people to communicate. That's an essential part. And that's what, you know, Biden, especially in his stutter and his age, he wasn't able to do. The policies I loved. And in large part because they helped places like Fall River. But, you know, that didn't become readily apparent.
Next week, Fall River Democrats are being asked to participate in a listening session on the party's future. Mr. Costa says as President Trump starts his second term, it's important for Democrats to find opportunities and advocate for issues they deem important.
And I wish Trump well when it comes to the United States. When he supports certain measures that I think are good for the country, I will support him on those measures wholeheartedly. And if he does otherwise, which he's already done in some instances with his executive orders, I'm going to, as a loyal opposition, try to make an argument as to why he might be mistaken. But I'm never going to call into question the integrity and the decency of the vast majority of people who voted for both candidates. That I won't do. I think the Republicans, having voted for Trump, they've made a very severe mistake, but that, you know, they won the election. And what the Democrats have to do is listen in a place like Fall River. And I also in Fall River, you know something? I don't want to say this, but yeah, I'm going to use whatever happens in Fall River, including this election, you know, where Trump won by a sliver, which I'm very disappointed, and I think it was a disaster, but at the same time, I'm going to use that as leverage on the Democratic State Committee to advocate for places like Fall River, who have been getting the short end of the stick for a long time.
Mr. Costa says divisiveness among voters is now the norm, but in the end, everyone needs to unite.
There's some beautiful people out there from everywhere. They might not look like us. They might not have been born where we're born. We might even share the same religion. But the reality is, independent of who wins the election in our era, we got to remember that, you know, we're one community, and that's very, very important, independent of who you voted for. And that's one of the foundations of democracy. independent of who wins, we're all in this together. And we retain our freedoms, our free press, free assembly, right to speak out, even vigorously disagree about very important issues, economy, war and peace. But we never call into question, we shouldn't, the idea of mutual respect and the dignity and the importance of being an informed and engaged citizen.
The listening session for Democrats in the Fall River Congressional District will take place virtually on Monday at 7 p.m. Participants can register through the Massachusetts State Democratic Party's website. Last week, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey used her second State of the Commonwealth address to tout her administration's accomplishments over the past 2 years while recognizing the challenges ahead.
When we deliver results and people are free to chase their dreams, there's no limit to how strong we can be. It's why we're ranked #1 in education, #1 in innovation, #1 in healthcare. We were named the best state for women, best state to have a baby, best state to raise a family. We're ranked the most environmentally friendly state and the safest state as well. Our economy has continued to grow and add good jobs. Unemployment is low. Median household income is the highest in the nation. We have an excellent bond rating, and our rainy day fund is at record levels. And I can say tonight, with both pride and confidence, that the state of our Commonwealth is strong.
The governor recommitted her goal to make the state more affordable for all state residents.
We focused on the stuff that matters to most people. When Father John spoke, he alluded to some of the division and divisiveness that we experience right now in our world, not just in Massachusetts, but everywhere. But what we focused on are the needs, the wants of residents and families across this state. I think we focused on the right things. People want life to be more affordable, so we delivered the first tax cut in over 20 years. We gave seniors an extra $1,000 back. We're giving families an extra $400 back for every child. And we now have the most generous tax credit in the entire country, which goes along with free breakfast and lunch in school and no-cost community college.
On affordable housing, the governor promoted recent legislation that will allow the state to construct more homes and lowering costs.
For decades, we didn't build enough housing in this state. We're paying the price for it right now. There's not enough housing, it's too expensive, but we're changing that. This year, with the Affordable Homes Act, we're going to get shovels in the ground and people in homes, and we're going to do it by working together. A $5 billion act we passed, thank you so much, I was able to sign. Now we're going to implement. Now we're going to lean in and implement. If we want our kids to stay here, if we want families to put down roots here, if we want seniors and grandparents to be able to downsize and stay here, if we want companies to grow, expand, to stay here, we're going to need to build more homes. So we're going to build them.
The governor also wants to reduce costs for renters by eliminating the fee many pay when searching for an apartment posted to a broker by a landlord. On education, the governor says the state needs to adopt a fair assessment for high school graduates.
Now, the voters decided in November that the MCAS graduation requirement isn't the way forward. I respect that decision. But it creates for all of us an opportunity and a responsibility to make sure that every student graduates set up for success. We need a high statewide standard. Students, families, and employers need to know what a diploma represents. And without that baseline, you know what happens. It's always going to be the most vulnerable students who don't get what they need. For that reason, I'm directing a statewide graduation requirement council that will include teachers, colleges, employers, and students to develop recommendations for a permanent high standard. We're going to evolve to a new Massachusetts model for high school excellence that best serves our children.
The governor promoted the launch of South Coast Rail this spring and her efforts to strengthen local health care through the sale last year of Steward Health, the former owner of St. Anne's Hospital. She also pledged to work with the incoming Trump administration while promising to, quote, not change who we are. Yesterday, Governor Healy took the wraps off her fiscal year 2026 state budget proposal that will take effect in July.
The $59.6 billion budget that we filed today will continue all of that progress and builds on that progress in new and transformative ways. It's balanced, it's fiscally responsible, and we believe it is a blueprint for meeting the needs of residents and businesses while also taking care of taxpayer dollars. The core of this budget represents a 2.6% increase over the current fiscal year, which is below the current rate of inflation. We're controlling spending and tightening our belts, just as any other family or business has to do. We're making sure that every dollar is getting the maximum return, the maximum result for the people of Massachusetts and the taxpayers.
Time again to look at what's happening across the city in terms of business news, new developments, new businesses coming into Fall River, some of them leaving Fall River. We are pleased to be joined, as we have been the past few weeks, by Kevin Lawrence. He's the publisher and editor and owner of Fall River Development News on Facebook. Kevin, how are you?
Good, very well.
All right, let's get right into it. Let's actually start with a couple of things downtown. First of all, there's a furniture store that is downtown that many people may not know about. They're actually going to be closing very soon, or they have some done already.
Yes, that's Pacheco's Furniture. As of when this will air, the Pacheco's Furniture store at 255 South Main Street in downtown Fall River will be closed. It occupies 9,000 square feet of retail space. So it's a large storefront that's going to be vacant once this thing is closed down. They've been there since 2018. Unfortunately, that's going to be a big void to fill. Of course, we have lots of other retail vacancies downtown, including the former Rite Aid drugstore on South Main Street that closed in 2024. That building is now up for sale. It's a historic building that was built in 1900, so hopefully someone will purchase that and redevelop that property as well. That's adjacent to Pacheco's Furniture, that building.
Yeah, so you got a big swath of buildings there that are going to be impacted in terms of these closings. As you said, the Rite Aid building has been vacant for some time.
Yep.
Staying with the theme of pharmacies, it looks like there's going to be a hit in the Flint in terms of Walgreens. If you go to the Walgreens in the Flint, you've got about a month or so to go before they will shut down there.
Yeah, this is at 933 Pleasant Street inside the Flint Village Plaza. They are shutting down permanently, unfortunately, a blow for the Flint. That Rite Aid location closing on February 26th. They've transferred all their prescriptions over to 369 Plymouth Avenue. That's the Rite Aid of the Walgreens near the Applebee's adjacent to 195. So customers can go there. But we've lost quite a few pharmacies over the past year. We lost an additional Walgreens location on North Main Street. And of course, we've lost that Rite Aid location on South Main Street in downtown and another Rite Aid location on Plymouth Ave at Stafford Road. So we're continually losing pharmacy locations. And if you're like me, I go to the CVS on President Ave. The lines at that pharmacy seem to be getting longer because we're losing all these other pharmacies within the city.
Yeah. It's just the nature of the beast. I know that both Rite Aid and Walgreens have had issues in terms of sustainability, while CVS still is definitely the big kahuna, if you will, in terms of pharmacies, not only here, but across many parts of the country. Finally, this week, we want to get into housing and new housing that has gone up and ready to go. The Grinnell Street townhouses, I believe we may have touched upon this before. They're up and ready to go.
They are completed. This is on Grinnell Street. You can see it if you pull into the Walmart parking lot in Fall River. This is a 3-story building. It's called Grinnell Estates. It's large. You can't miss it. It's right over the fence near the Walmart store. There's 8 townhouses there. These are quite luxurious. They're beautiful. They have 3 levels, 9-foot ceilings on each level, and they're currently for sale, and they're getting $470,000 for these townhouse units. And this is, like I said, adjacent to the Walmart parking lot. So the real estate is definitely rising. The prices they're getting for townhouses and single family homes, multifamily complexes, they're on the increase, and they continue to go up going into 2025 here in the city of Fall River.
Yeah. And definitely that puts a strain on those that are, a little less fortunate, working class, that, that may want to look for a new place to live. Those numbers are really high for a lot of people in Fall River.
Absolutely.
All right, Kevin, I appreciate your time as always, and we'll talk again next week. Take care.
Thank you, Keith.
We'll have more FRC Media News after this.
Here's some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Dietitian nutritionist, St. Anne's Hospital, located at 795 Middle Street, seeks a full-time dietitian nutritionist responsible for providing and organizing clinical nutrition care to patients. Job number 220-21199. Senior Contracts Administrator, Innovative Defense Technologies, located at 456 Bedford Street, is looking for a full-time Senior Contracts Administrator to provide contractual guidance to business team members for their contract portfolios. Job number 220-19510. Personal Lines Account Manager, World Insurance Associates, located at 377 2nd Street, is seeking a full-time personal lines account manager responsible for supporting the account executive with the responsibilities related to client management and retention. Job number 220-20656. Team Leader, H&R Block, located at 276 Central Street, is looking for a full-time team leader. For more information, call 508-676-0025. Mechanics Cooperative Bank, located at 60 Bedford Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Personal Banker, job number 220-19707. Universal Teller, job number 220-19705. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. On Monday, Bristol Community College hosted its 25th annual community breakfast celebrating the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Sunday's snow and Monday's cold weather could not keep nearly 200 residents from participating. The keynote address was delivered by Austin Ash, Senior Associate Director of Belonging and Culture at MIT. He used his time to celebrate the advances made in diversity across the country while acknowledging that in our increasingly divisive nation, more must be done to find common ground.
As Martin, as Coretta, Malcolm, Fred, Fannie Lou, Shirley, Barack, Michelle, John Lewis, even our most recently deceased president, Jimmy Carter, as they have done, we need to find a way to bring our collective hopes together, our dreams, our skills, our differences, especially our differences together, to identify the most innovative, culturally relevant and sustaining and loving solutions to the problems, challenges, and opportunities that we're presented with in this great country today.
The South Coast has a new advocate for the arts as part of the board of the Massachusetts Cultural Council. Appointed by Governor Maura Healey in April, Ashley Okino served as executive director of the Fall River Arts and Culture Coalition and sees her role as one of celebrating the arts along the South Coast.
Continuing to put myself out there to attend events, to continue to collaborate with people and connect with people and connect with organizations to know what needs are and to know where opportunity is maybe not being taken advantage of. And so one of those big things is making sure that I tell people where they can find grant opportunities. The Mass Cultural Council has lots of different grant opportunities that come throughout the year, both for individuals and for organizations, and making sure that people know that those are there for them to take advantage of. That's a big part of what I do as well. And I'm happy to say that in the time that I've been both with the Fall River Arts and Culture Coalition and now with the Mass Cultural Council, there have been absolutely an increase in applications and the number of applications coming out of the South Coast area and from Fall River.
Ms. Okino resigned her post at FRAC on January 1st and says the city has embraced how art plays a pivotal role within the community.
I was able to see a real community build beyond what was already there. And I saw folks welcomed into the community that had never even known that there was opportunity for them there. And they'd taken advantage of both FRAC opportunities, but also, as I mentioned, the Fall River Cultural Council. They've seen a big increase of people applying and the number of grants that they've awarded over the last few years. So between individuals feeling supported, I've seen organizations really reach across the city to work with each other on collaborative initiatives like open studios or different festival type events. And the public art as well. I think that definitely needs to be acknowledged. There's just been a wonderful increase of color, pattern, and storytelling all across the city. And in fact, did have a role in it, but there's so many other organizations that have taken that even further. And I think that's the most important thing is that FRAC exists to empower and to uplift and to really support the creative economy, whether through individuals, organizations, community groups, and that definitely did happen. And I think the state of arts are in a great place right now in Fall River.
We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today with us we have Sassy. She's roughly about 5 years old. We have her as a red patch tabby domestic short hair. Now, she does not live up to her name. She is not sassy. She's actually a very sweet girl. But you kind of get the best of both worlds with her. She can cuddle up on you, but then she also has her playful side as well. She's not too picky with the toys. She's good with using scratch and post. She's very good about managing her energy. Even when she does get her little kitty zoomies, it's very mild. If you want to come down and meet Sassy, we also have our contact information at foreverpaws.com. And you can also see our applications. You can see all of our adoptable animals on there. But definitely make an appointment to come see Sassy. You won't be disappointed.
Today we have Rubble. Rubble here is a 2-year-old boxer mix. He's been with us now for about 6 weeks so far. Even though he's a very good boy, for some reason we haven't gotten any interest in him. So hoping that maybe one of you out there will be interested in coming down and seeing him. He is a very energetic guy. You need to be able to handle him though. You know, he's 2 years old. He's an active breed. He does have some training. He sits, comes, goes down on command. He's very treat and food motivated too, because he's so energetic. Because he weighs 70 pounds, he's got a lot of energy and a lot of weight to throw around. We are looking for homes that either have no children or children 12 plus. Just so you folks know, we are by appointment only. If you'd like to give us a call for more information about Rubble or to just make an appointment to see any of our dogs, you can call us at 508-677-9154. You can also go to our website, foreverpaws.com. On there you can find all of our contact information. That's at Forever Paws Animal Shelter. And we hope to see you.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 95 and Fall River HD Channel 1072. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.